Is this thing on?
What's up, everybody? It's Zach with Stringwalkers Archery. Today we're going to go through my shot process. I'm shooting 50 meters right now. It's kind of that time of the year. So basically I'm going to run you through everything I do and all my checkpoints for a good shot. It looks a little rough right now, which isn't good with Buckeye coming up, but we're going to get there. Here we go. All right, load an arrow.
That's the first step.
Put the arrow in the bow.
Anyway, so next step, I'm gonna move my spotter so you can see my feet are super open and kind of together. You can usually go a little wider and a little less open than this. The reason that I am doing this and showing you this right now is because what an open stance like this causes is a torsional twist in your abdominal area. So that engages your abs more. And this is something that comes from like the NTS system, but it makes sense in general. Is so when I'm shooting in the wind and I've already pre-torqued my abs, I can fight the wind better with my front arm and be more stable than if I'm just standing straight up. And then I can blow either way. I'm already biased and I'm tightening my abs as I'm doing that. So that's kind of the first step, is your stance. The next thing I'm gonna do is crawl on the string. I'm going 3 threads above this mark here. So right there. And then down to the top line, just a little different. I'm also coming off of this knocking point. I'm trusting this bottom knocking point not to move. That's not necessarily best practice, but that's always the way I've done it. So once I've done my crawl, I'm going to set my fingers. Very careful to not move my tab when I go to set my fingers in place. This tab has to stay exactly where I crawled to, otherwise I'm going to shoot high-low. So once I do that, I'm going to put tension on the bow. I'm going to set my grip in place. So when I'm setting my grip in place, I'm looking for this ridge to rest right in here somewhere. Right along this kind of lifeline. And what that's doing is getting this closer to the center of my wrist and putting the weight from the bow, the draw weight, into my skeletal system instead of entirely into my muscle. So that just gives you more of a solid, like locked in front end, so that it doesn't move, nothing changes at full draw. This is solid, locked in right from the start. When I get to full draw, I'm gonna check it again and make sure that the tension feels correct and I have a good pressure point, usually somewhere towards the bottom middle of my hand, right next to like the meat of my thumb here. So let's go back and we'll crawl so we hit the target. So once I've done that, this is called set in NTS, this position here. I'm setting my front shoulder down, out, and I've got my grip and my fingers in the right place. And I'm gonna start my draw cycle here. And what I'm doing here is I'm essentially moving this hand straight up and down and hinging this front arm out. And that causes me to get to about half or 3/4 draw with expending less energy than I would if I was to come straight up like this and back. And that's also setting me up to have my shoulders in alignment.
Show a proper setup until you get to draw.
Well, you go all the way through.
Yep, just finish at the end of your setup. There's set up. Perfect.
So set up, I'm like really close. You can see like I just need to go there to draw to anchor. So from here to there is my draw to anchor. Whereas if I was doing a linear draw entirely, like you'll see on like some of the Korean archers, I would come up here and then go all the way back in for my draw to anchor. So I'm just expending more energy to get to the same place by doing a linear draw. So everything is about conserving energy, breeding consistency. So crawl for the 8th time. Got set to set up, draw to anchor. And when I draw to anchor, I'm picking a tooth that I'm feeling through my upper lip. So I'm going to this canine right there.
I hope you brushed your teeth this morning.
I did. The bottom back side of that canine right there. My teeth are kind of ugly, so ignore that. But that's where I'm going, and I'm feeling it through my teeth, through my cheek.
Yes.
I never open my mouth when I'm shooting. And the reason for that is because my second reference point is going to be this finger on the top of my jawbone, right in the gum line, where my gums have receded. And
Like
that's
your
kind of my
hairline.
second reference. It's not like a be all end all, like this is bad, but like it lets me know that my jaw is set in the right place, my hand is set in the right place, and everything is gonna go okay. So, do this again. Set up, draw to anchor. And right now I am on the target. The point of my arrow is like right below the 9 ring right now. It's called lollipop aiming. And once I hit anchor, the point of my arrow is pretty much where I'm gonna have it be when it goes off. So that's another thing, expending energy. I don't expend a lot of energy to get my arrow back on target unless there's a lot of wind. Usually it comes right up into my sight picture, right where I want to be shooting. So, and the way you do that is by focusing on where you want to hit kind of while you're going through the shot process as well. Like just be looking at it, not necessarily focused on I want to hit a 10, I want to hit a 10, but just be looking at the target. And your mind will naturally want to gravitate the arrow there. So. Okay.
Let's see that anchor again.
See the anchor again.
Yep.
All right. Ignore the fact this has white veins on it. My arrows are mismatched.
Chewed up white veins.
Yeah, we were getting a little contact. Not no more. Okay, so here's the other thing, the next thing that I'm checking. So once I've drawn in, checked my anchor, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look at this string, this serving. This serving is right in my sight picture. And with the way I anchor on the side of my face, this ends up resting basically on the end of this plunger button every time.
Stop moving. And so like that. For those of you who can see that.
Right there. So it'll just be this big black line lined up with the edge of this black plunger. And then what that does is set my left and right. So if I'm out here one time, it's gonna go way left. Does that make sense? Because the bow is pointing, my perception of it is pointing this way. So the arrow is gonna go left. So what you can actually do for left and right misses is you can move this, they call it string blur, from here to, if I'm shooting left, I move it here, and it'll shoot further right.
Yep.
And it doesn't take a whole lot to move it, you know, from the 9 ring to the 8 ring to the 7 ring, and so on. So paying attention to that and just making sure that that's online with what you're doing every time is really important.
That's our peep sight. That's our rear sight on a rifle. That's 50% of where you're pointing an arrow. So that's a very important step.
Yeah. So the next thing on my checklist at full draw is going to be finger tension. And I think I talked about this in our 50 meter match a little bit, is I was just a little off on my finger tension. It's a subtle detail. So like, I'm maybe pulling 60, 30, 10. 60 on the middle, 30 on the pointer, 10 on the ring finger. And what that's gonna do if I change it is if I pull with this finger here, I'm shaking, which is nice.
That's nice. Good.
So if I pull with the middle finger more than I normally would, that is going to make my arrow go lower. If I pull with my pointer finger, it's going to make my arrow go higher. So that's where some of your highs and lows are going to come from, is that subtle difference in finger tension between shot to shot. And that'll actually make my arrows go high 8. Like if I pull with this too much, like if I'm getting tired and I'm just not focused, I'll pull with this a little too much and just send one high 8. Or I'll pull with this too much and send it low 8. So
You got 2 points contact on the bow, where your string is, where your bow is. So if 50% of where you're touching the bow gets changed every time, it's gonna change what happens downrange.
yeah, big one. That's
Big
a big
one.
one. A big one and a hard one to master. So when you're shooting and you've gotten that strength up, that's the time, you know, when you feel like this thing is light, or if you're shooting light poundage to work on form, that's really the time to figure out, just set in your mind exactly what it's supposed to feel like and try and replicate that consistently. It's difficult, but if you can do it, it's wonderful. Like, it shows good results.
And it's different for everybody, really, just off of your form, your fingers, how you want to pull the bow. You just have to make sure it's consistent for you. The majority of the time, what most people teach is these top 2 fingers that you're pulling with hold the majority of the weight, and then this third one is less. So as long as it follows that basic that basic principle, you should be fine. Just got to make it consistent.
Yep. So after that, what I'm doing is okay, so before that, I'm setting my shoulders in alignment. What I mean by that is I'm taking these shoulders from here to here, opening my chest up and making this shoulder kind of not in line with the target still, but like left side of the bail. So I'm a right-handed archer, so if you're lefty, it's gonna be right side of the bail. So you can still be a little bit inside of it, but the goal is to have this back elbow be inside, in line with the arrow. So Robbie is gonna get an angle on that. Hopefully this is good.
The sun is right in my face. I have no idea if we got a good one on that or not, but we should be fine. Do it again.
Yeah, I'll give you one more so that you can watch and see. Hopefully the sun isn't terrible.
The video looks fine. I just can't see. There you go. That looks
Okay.
good.
So that's in alignment. That's before anything else really. Like I'm getting my anchor point, and then I'm checking my alignment, and then I'm checking my front grip.
How do you
hand.
check your alignment?
Just feel.
Just feel?
It's just feel.
What does it feel like?
It feels like the weight transfers from my back shoulder holding it back to the weight going in a line through my bones. Like you'll feel almost a sense of security that like this thing isn't going to pull you in. You're strong and you've got everything lined up correctly. So it's the goal of this is to put the weight again on your musculoskeletal system. So your muscles are doing fine details adjustments, and the bones are holding the majority of the weight. So this is also a big thing for people who have like bad shoulders and stuff. It can really help if you can get into alignment. It'll help you hold the bow back without experiencing as much pain, hopefully. I know in Korea they were having issues with like people with bad front shoulders, and they were actually getting injections to keep going, and this has helped prevent some of that. So give that a try. The best way to come up with like whether or not you're in alignment is just to have a buddy hold a phone over you and just look in a line up above, kind of that same angle that Robbie got is going to be the best way to go. So yeah, last thing, not really last thing, second to last thing. So I'm going all the way through my shot. I'm checking my shoulders as I come in. I check my anchor point. I run my front grip to feel the pressure point in the right spot. I check my finger tension. I say to myself, okay, we're aiming in the middle. We're set up strong. We're gonna be patient and we're gonna shoot a good shot. And I pull this back end around. So what might be easiest if I tuck this shirt in, you should be able to see a muscle group. Point to the muscle, Rob.
Right here, in this area. Watch this shoulder.
Your lower trapezius. And the goal is going to be to rotate this around, and then when the shot breaks, this entire unit, my forearm and my bicep area and like my shoulder, this shoulder blade, my hand, all come around and down and back in that fashion. That is because when I'm going to break the shot, I'm pulling with that lower trapezius, and it's naturally pulling in that direction. It's a natural reaction.
So tell us what gets you to like go, to cut the shot loose.
So for me, I am shooting triggerless. I've done some safeties in the past. I've used my thumb to kind of separate when I'm done aiming. I would put my thumb down, and then I would start the process of deciding when I want to shoot. The thing I noticed with that is the safety becomes the trigger, and then you're shooting before you're ready because you're putting this down as soon as you're aimed, and then you're going, and that's not really what we're after. So the idea with shooting a triggerless shot, which for Barebow is kind of, I don't know, it's the holy grail, I guess,
Yes.
of shooting a Barebow shot. And I don't really know how exactly to describe it other than getting in a headspace of I'm not going to cut this loose until I'm ready. And that's probably the most difficult thing to master that I've seen. It's really a conscious decision to relax your fingers and cleanly release the string at a certain point in your shot. So
Like
what
a
I'm
green
doing,
light almost?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm checking all of my boxes, going through all my steps in my head consciously. And then once I've done that and I'm starting to pull through and I feel a good tension in my back, then I have a green light. And if everything still feels good and it's aimed in the middle, then I'll decide to cut it loose. And the release itself, I'm not really thinking about, okay, I need to relax my fingers and let go of the string. It's more of like okay, it's go time, go. And subconsciously, I mean, it happens so fast to get a clean release that you can't consciously walk yourself through releasing your fingers. It'd be like consciously walking yourself through breathing. You know, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't happen naturally when you do that. Yeah, I think that's the best way I can think to describe it. And Rob, anything?
No, I think the important piece for triggerless shooting is actually walking through all of your steps, and then at the end of your steps being very, very disciplined of like, okay, green light, we can go whenever. It's not a go now, it's whenever you're ready. So
Yeah, and I think like one of the big things I say to myself, like mental game in a match. This kind of started at Chicago Open after I set my world record for indoor. My buddy Roland said to me during the match with Joel Turner for gold, set up strong, be patient with it. And I think that kind of resonated the whole theme of like my shooting style is I'm going to check all of my boxes, I'm going to set up strong, and then I'm going to sit here for a second and be patient with it, because I know when I give myself that extra second, that's usually when the shot breaks right in the middle, super clean, and it just goes. So that's what I'm generally trying to achieve every arrow, is setting up strong, checking all my boxes, giving myself a green light, and then being patient after the green light is good.
good. I think that's a good way to describe it. All right, boys and girls, so we walked through a shot process. This should be the end of the video. We are now going to do a few different angles of Zack's form and how he shoots. All right, I hope you learned a lot.
Something anyway.
Something, hopefully.
Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like and subscribe if you did. We'll be dropping some more stuff like this, some more stuff that's just fun. So
Try.
give us a shout.
Also, if you got any ideas, shoot them our way. Peace.